So I have this weird obsession with playing Stardew Valley for hours and hours and hours that literally last night I had to put my Switch down, boot up The Sims 4, and build a little farm in Brindleton Bay for my college town save file. So when I tell you I'm really obsessed with Stardew Valley, I truly am. There's come to a point where I've decided to load up my Switch, recharge it, and just have some plain old fun to play video games without trying to record everything. Because I've had this problem for so many years since like making YouTube videos and streaming that I've never really actually had a game for myself to play for myself where no one sees it. And that's the game called Stardew Valley, but on my Nintendo Switch. And I've been so inspired to like go to the mines, go fishing, foraging, everything the game has to offer, just so I can see how it influences me on my PC save for Stardew, but also at the same time do some farming in The Sims 4. Because ever since we got cottage living, I did like the idea of, getting my cow, my chickens, and all little farm animals that I had to offer while still managing my Sims household day-to-day chores. But then whenever we got, I think it wasn't cottage living, it was horse ranch. It involved horses and small goats and mini sheep, and it also involved other things as well, and also nectary making, which I think is very, very cool. So I wouldn't incorporate everything farming related Stardew Valley in The Sims 4 for this little build. Now, I'm making a Fall Town save file that's like college themed with my friend Dabney, where we wanted to turn Brindleton Bay into a college town for like Sims who wanted to go to university, but didn't want to specifically live in the dorms, but wanted to live in a home that felt like home. And so this world is like that vibe, especially in the fall season. It's just so cozy and so nice that I wanted to add in a lot of like key family elements of adding farming, adding in some nice little lounge areas, recreation centers, libraries, student housing, and even like some apartments for your Sims to live in. Now, with this little area, I didn't really go full out with the general environment because normally I would, but I felt like I wanted to take my time with it just to see how far I can go. So it's only a 2 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home, or I guess technically 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom. All the bedrooms are upstairs, and then there's a bathroom upstairs and like a small little bathroom downstairs on the main floor. Now, this is built actually in the very far back of Brindleton Bay, I believe on the second lot on the left side. And it's normally always empty, so you'll be able to find it perfectly fine. But if you do want to download it, it's under the gallery ID SpringSim, which is me. I will say when I built this on stream several months ago, I was like thinking, how can I make this little farm area the best it can be? And so I've already made like a sim character in my head that I also had posted on like Twitter a while back ago. And ever since I started doing that, I was like really, really excited to like go full in depth with it. So this sim that I named that I can't remember on top of my head, but the sim that I created is a farmer but horse type of person. He's lived in Chestnut Ridge for his entire life up until he met his best friend who actually lives in Brindleton Bay and owns this property and focuses a lot more on like the cows and the nectar making. They have like this business together where they sell their produce from all of their animals, but also sell nectar in Chestnut Ridge every once in a while. But they also sell it here in Brindleton Bay for any college Sims or any Sims that might come by that need a little extra boost for their goods of their food. Now, the idea of nectar making, I know it's best to like do it in the basement because it's a lot easier. The aged nectar is always great. Sell it for more simoleons. But this time I didn't really technically add in a nectary station in here because I felt like it was just not necessary right now, but I might eventually add it into the environment area because in the far back of this actual lot on the side, there's like this little empty area, and using Tool Mod by Twisted Mexi seems like a very perfect idea to add in like stalls and nectar making areas and whatever your Sims want to do, I want to add in that corner. Now, the ideas that they made this business together is like not really like a dude ranch, but it's more so like a, I guess, dude ranch in a sense that you want to call that. But I wanted to make two best friends who really loved farming and really loved the idea of wanting to grow their farm to the best it could be. how horses, cows, chickens, mini goats, mini sheep, but also adding in that family element. And so the person who lives in Chestnut Ridge is a horse, connoisseur, a horse fanatic. His entire family is all about horsing competitions. He kind of pressures his kids and grandkids to join him in this like kind of group setting to sign up, get a horse, train on their horse riding skill, but also be kind to the locals in Chestnut Ridge and in Brindleland Bay to know that, we are trusted. We can actually win these things for the community because in a sense, all the money that they make from those like competitions goes back into the worlds they live in. Now, the idea is that these Sims are hot-headed, ambitious, and they're a little bit of family orientated. Both of them are both family orientated, but one's hot-headed and the other one is like more kind of like to themselves, like an introvert homebody type of person. And I kind of like the idea of making Sims based off of like the world they live in, where Brindleland Bay feels more family orientated, more cozy, more chill, and not just like over the top, where Chestnut Ridge I feel like is kind of the same vibe, but it's like always go, 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 go. That I wanted to make two separate Sims, but they were compatible with friendship. And ever since we got Love Struck, I always wanted to dive deep into like the dating aspect, the get to know you dates. And pretty much these Sims went on a get to know you date using the new Love Struck Cupid's Corner app, but nothing romantically happened. It was more so finding a farmer friend in a sense. And so they met on Cupid's Corner, they became good friends, and since then they've been in business together for the past 15 years. But here's the thing. The Sim that lives in Chestnut Ridge, they have 3 kids and 4 grandkids. Their children, on the other hand, all live in separate worlds. One in San Myshuno, one in Brindleland Bay going to college, and the other one living in Sulani. Now, the grandkids, they know their grandpa much as the next person, but their kids want them to not solely focus on the horse ranch, being as competitive as they can be as their grandfather because they know how obsessive he can be. And growing up in that like environment, that lifestyle, they just don't want to put that pressure on their kids. They want them to be just kids and enjoy their childhood as much as they can. And the grandpa is like not the best. He can be obsessive. He can be very competitive, sometimes on his own kids. And I'm like thinking, sir, you need to slow your roll, back it up, and deal with your own horses. Because he has about 3 or 4 horses. One was just born not too long ago, but he wants to find a way that if his kids don't want to do it and his grandkids don't want to do it, he has to find friends that will do the same thing that he does. Like this Sim who lives here likes, animals, but doesn't do a lot of horsing, which is fine. He just has to find a horsing club. And so I'm thinking of creating a club full of horse people, like university students who love horses and animals to live in this world. So that way the other Sim won't feel so lonely at the end of the day. So I wanted to make this property specifically for the Sim who loves like animals like cows and chickens and llamas and like the goats and stuff, but also loves nectar making and, farm. So this Sim only has no siblings, no other family. It's just him and that's it. But the 2 extra beds that live in the upstairs is more so any Sims who wants to come by, a little stay over, any friends that he might make along his way. And they're both like in like their 70s and 60 years old. So they're like not all old. They're both retired. They've lived a very long life. They both went to Brightchester University. One studied physics, one studied, language and literature. And the careers didn't really pan out. One tried to become a lawyer, one tried to become a doctor and like an artist all at the same time, and ultimately failed along the way until they found their true passion, like farming and gardening and horseback riding. But let me know in the comments below, like, what do you like to do in The Sims? Whether it's farming, fishing, mining, anything. Let me know what you think, what you do, because for me as a family game player, I'm always focused on the family aspect, whether my Sim is alone with no family or they have a big giant happy family. But I feel like with this build, I struggled a lot with it because it was on a smaller lot and I didn't technically know at the time what to do. But I think as I kind of gradually kind of looked at the build after the fact, everything started to make sense. And I'm using all the objects way before we got Love Struck and way before we got like some other packs. Because when I built this was back like last year. Well, no, yeah, it was built actually earlier this year in March. So it's been a couple of months since I had this build in my little build folder, and I've been going back and like looking at my old builds thinking, oh my gosh, I need to record these things. I forget half the time. I build everything on stream, but then I just forget to edit them and then upload them to YouTube. But also I'm slow at editing. But I also am just like always thinking of like, what else can I do? What else can I add to my build? But that's for another time, for another day. We do have more builds coming, a lot more different types of videos that are like creative sim and gameplay videos that I've been wanting to do for a while. And when I tell you, I want to talk more about my Stardew. When I tell you, when I've been playing Stardew for months on end, I've been playing months on end. A while back ago, that I think was last year, I did this like Twitch speed run tournament event with Dr. Gluon, Mivyard, and a 20-something loser or Lee. And they all stream on Twitch. Gluon and Miv also stream on Twitch, but also make YouTube content. And Miv asked me to be part of her team. And I'm like, okay, sure. I love me some Stardew Valley. And we're basically speed running the game to see who can complete the community center faster enough, know the most money, pretty much anything, fishing, all that fun stuff. Our team got third place in, I believe, in the community center, which I was very, very happy about. I don't know exactly like the time that we did it, but if you want to check out all of the VODs from the speedrun tournament, I'll link them down below so you can kind of see the energy, the vibe that it was. It was very like sleep, water the crops, go to bed, give this, give that, and go to bed. So it was a lot of like going and sleeping, but it was pretty easy. And I think since I did that, I was like really inspired to see how fast I can complete the community center by myself because I am slow as molasses and I take forever in a day to finish anything. Builds, sims, videos, anything, because I'm just always on edge and I have ADHD and I'm all over the place anyway, like this video. But I completed the community center by myself in I think 2 years and I was actually pretty proud of it. And I'm already on year 3 on my like PC save, but on my Switch save, I'm currently on year 2, which isn't like that bad, but I'm still working on the community center because I am a little bit slow at finding crops, growing them, and the Switch is a lot smaller and it's handheld, where on my PC, things are a lot more quicker. I have a bigger screen size and I can do more and add mods to make it a little bit more fun and like exciting for me. And of course, everyone downloads mods, but you don't have to, but if you want to, go for it. It's your game. You can do whatever you want at the end of the day. And I think for this general like playthrough that I've been doing, it's allowed me to understand how to be a better farmer in The Sims because I've always had like the struggle of finding out how to be the best gardener in my Sims for my Sims families because I have certain Sims who have like this garden life for themselves, but I also have Sims who are like only solely farmers or flower arranging or just like making good food but good quality food with quality crops. So I've always had like the struggle of wanting to make the best garden and wanting to make the best foods because Sims like cooking. If you play Bob Pancakes from Willow Creek with his sad little marriage with Eliza Pancakes, he loves cooking and wants to become a chef, which he is, but I feel like deep down he wants to have his own restaurant, but with his own crops that he grows in his backyard. So I've always thought about if I want to have a chef sim who has like fresh ingredients that they make in their own backyard for their restaurant, I might as well learn how to be the best gardener with the best quality crops, evolve them, tend to the weeds, stuff like that. So if you have any pro tips from a beginner gardener, let me know because simply I'm going to need all the help I can get, especially with the save file. And I've always had this trouble with making the best quality crops for the Hemford on Bagley fairs. I mean, I've won several awards, don't get me wrong, but I'm getting better at it here and there. But eventually, it'll become easier the more that I do it in the best proper way. Now, going back to this build, like I said, there's two bedrooms. One bedroom is made for the main sim, and this other bedroom is made for like Sims who want to stay over, hang out for a little bit, his best friend from Chestnut Ridge, if he wants to come over, and if and when he ever has kids with any sim, or just in general wants to adopt. But at the end of the day, it's made for like any college sims, any sims who want to come over and stay here for a little bit. And he could actually turn this into a residential rental down the line if he needed to, and have like help around the farm area, because he's like 70 something years old and he's like very active and everything, but he still likes to have help. He likes to have company. He's not a loner, but he just likes that sense of community, that sense of friendship, that sense of, funness, where he's not doing everything by himself, if that makes sense. And I'm sure we all had Sims who are looking for friendship, family, love, anything at all. But having like someone around you who has a similar interest as you can really make a big, big difference on a Sim's personality. And I've had the most fun with playing The Sims as of late with my own current households that you all haven't seen. But I've been having so much fun because they've changed their personality midway through gameplay, where one sim was like very flirty and then became very unflirty, or they were like really ambitious and then became not really ambitious at all. And I like seeing that, like that dynamic of their personality change over time, whether they're doing a good thing or doing a bad thing. But narrowing it down to where they live, what they do day to day, and who are they friends with really makes or breaks my game for me. And so whenever I play The Sims, I want to always have a storyline in mind, so that way I'm like just not building willy-nilly, but also I'm not playing the game willy-nilly. But sometimes it's also best to like play the game as you're playing, and whatever happens you can add to that story to kind of make it better or worse. Like, for example, if you have a sim who's dating like 4 or 5 different sims in your neighborhood and you have no clue, and then you find out 2 days later that saying your significant other was cheating on you with 4 different sims, including your best friend who you're having a baby with right at that moment. So it's like, if you want messy, play messy. If you don't want messy, don't play messy. But add a little pizzazz, a little spice to your life, because eventually things can boil down to be really good in the end, or really bad in the end. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and go into the game in real time, so that way you can kind of get a gist of what I was trying to do for the build itself, but also the general environment, and also see the major improvements that we have done with the actual, map view of all the different buildings, and just what we have left to do until we start making Sims, and then we release it towards the end of the year. But let's go ahead and go into the game. So knowing that I'm heavily obsessed with Stardew Valley right now, I'm really proud on how I built this house, especially with the amount of money I had and also the general location. It's on a 30 by 20 lot. It costs around 80,000 simoleons, and it's set in Brindlin Bay. But knowing that this location is surrounded by trees makes so much sense. But I did not know there was a pond in this corner. So your sim can like fish here. They can mount the fish, sell the fish, grill the fish, do whatever they want with the fish, and have a jolly good old time. So this location is like prime real estate, and I love it. But I'm really glad that I built all this. But knowing that I had a very little lot, I didn't want to include too many things. So I only added in an animal shed, a chicken coop, a rabbit's home, and also a bees box. I didn't feel like adding in like any horses or anything because the space was just not given what we needed. So in this location, I added in a lot of like garden plots. So you only have like pumpkins, you have some watermelon, and also some lettuce. I was going to include some eggplants, but I felt like eggplants not needed for now, but down the line they could be. But in this location, I added in the washer tub and clothing line, since you don't have a washer or dryer. It just seemed more natural for your Sims to do their laundry outdoors instead of indoors. Especially knowing that I don't use a lot of laundry day stuff, especially with these two items, it just seemed perfect. Plus, I wanted to start using objects that I don't normally use in my everyday builds, but also my everyday gameplay. And I also forgot I added in a flock of wild birds, so birds will spawn here, you can make friends. So it's really a family animal-centric home for anyone that is like an animal lover, or just likes being, around the farm and helping to get their hands dirty. So I included a bunch of like debug stuff from cottage living, and even horse ranch and cats and dogs. Since it is in Brindlin Bay, I gotta add in some cats and dogs objects. There are 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The bedrooms are upstairs and there's 1 bathroom upstairs and 1 bathroom downstairs. It's pretty cramped and tight on the interior because I didn't feel like adding in too many objects for one singular sim and sims that might come by and stay over for a while. It just seemed easier to make it a small location build, but big plot of land for extra things you want to do. So we have a little foyer area with all of your bits and bops, your mirror, your shoe rack, and also a little photography camera, and also some diplomas from Bridechester because the sim who lives here graduated from Bridechester University a long time ago. So it only seemed very natural to add in the diploma onto the wall. And of course, in here we have their dining room with some nectar storage racks because they do love nectar making a lot. It just seemed easier to have their racks in different locations in case they wanted to grab it from their dining room or even from their living room. They don't have the nectar making station because I didn't add it in and I just kind of forgot, but I felt like they could have done it in Chestnut Ridge where their friend lives and then transfer it over here into their own home so it can age over time. But in their kitchen, I felt like their kitchen is like the heart of the home. They have to have the biggest kitchen, especially having a double stove. None of my sims ever have a double stove because they're always dirt cheap poor, but knowing that they have this, you know they're rich, you know they're fancy, plus their friend, they got a lot of money and they have a business together. So in a sense, they share the wealth. Henceforth, their home has to be. And then in their living room, it's pretty cramped and tight. It's just a general square. I believe it's only a 4x4 living room, which is not that big. But I wanted to include the storage racks on the side near their fireplace, and also some yarn basket from knitting so they can do some knitting or some crocheting, however they so please. And I will say these couches and armchairs from Horse Ranch really make a big difference for this living room, and I really have been having a lot of fun playing with horses and seeing what they have to offer, but also the objects that came with the pack as well. But as we make our way upstairs, we have the secondary bedroom that's made for sims who want to stay over, or essentially sims that are going to college and need a place to stay for a couple of semesters, and so this is the room definitely for them. I added in a university homework station. I added in a desk above the bed, which I've done in plenty of builds, and it's actually functional. I did play test this before to make sure it works, and it does. And then I added in the radio and of course a little mini fridge, and then some diplomas onto the wall for the other sim. But this is where the main sim will actually sleep. They have their double bed, and I also included a little pet bed since they have a dog. They can train them outside. They sleep upstairs because I have a dog myself, so we got to incorporate my real life in the Sims. But I also included a little toy box and of course their wardrobe and bookcase, and then their long gated bathroom, which honestly, I'm not really good at making bathrooms, and I built this way before we got Love Struck. So all the new build and buy features with that, I could have included in here, but knowing it was going to be like a very rustic build, it just didn't really make any sense at the time. But I like what I did with the bathroom on the upstairs and also downstairs as well. But for the entire property in itself, I'm really pleased with it, and I could probably do more with the general environment, especially in this general area for the save file. I'm still thinking what I want to add, but if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments below, because I really use your feedback for a lot of different videos that we do on this channel. But overall, if you do want to download this build for yourself for your own game, it's up on the gallery under the hashtag SpringSims or my gallery ID, which is also SpringSims. But as always, I do hope you all enjoyed today's build as much as I did. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!